Well, here we are at Thirlmere Lakes National Park, and sadly we've had some cowboys come and break the glass and cause problems, but we're still, thanks to the wonderful efforts of the New South Wales Department of Environment and Climate Change, they've put together this fantastic map. And what we see here is this is a detail of the Thirlmere Lake system, and basically we have a U-shaped gully which collects the water itself in its own watershed quite close here, and it's divided into 5 lakes: Lake Gandangara, Lake Werriberry, Lake Couridjah, Lake Barabra and Lake Nerrigarang. First station on the Picton-Midigon loop line coming from Picton is Thirlmere. First station coming on the now deviated main south line is Thirlmere. There's a big colliery here which has got underground workings, and there is some concern that that workings has drained the region here and may have led to the lakes drying up. So that's still a work in progress as to whether that's what's caused it or whether it's just climate change. But certainly these lakes aren't as substantial as they used to be once upon a time, in even 10-15 years ago. So now we're going down to the lakes. This is Lake Berry, Lake Couridjah, probably Lake Couridjah. It must be Lake Berryberry, it's Lake Berryberry, and Werriberry, sorry. When I was here last, about Christmas time, I think the lake was going there and there was much more water in it, and it was at least swimmable in the immediate section. Maybe the water was even higher, might have been higher, but it's drained considerably in the last 9 months. But this is the concern. Much of this, I think, was originally, you could paddle a canoe around here. Well, you can see it's pretty much just...
That's a very small canoe.
Quite a few fish and things in there. Little tadpoles maybe, little fishies.
Fish.
Little fish, I'll bring them over to you. Little fishies over that way too. So if you just walk around you'll see them. So here we've got quite a lot of these reeds and things. Just these reed masses. Yeah, well, much of this in its day I think was navigable waters, and there's a lot of recently recorded history in the last 10-20 years of this being a site for pleasure for people that, canoes and paddle and things like that, small boats, small rowing boats and canoes to paddle around, but as you can see it's lost a lot of the water, and it's much of it's unnavigable now.
It's more like a swamp.
A few of the rushes, yeah, it's becoming more of a swamp than. This is better. This is Lake Couridjah. That was Lake Werriberry up there. So here we definitely are at Lake Couridjah, and we have at least an expanse of water where pleasure craft could indulge and move around. This was apparently very, very dry in recent history, the last few years. But yeah, this vista that you see here gives you more of the impression of what Picton Lakes pretty much has always been. So this is Lake Couridjah. It was from Lake Couridjah that the water supply went to Couridjah railway station up there. We'll have a quick look at that on the way back, the pump house, and provided water for the steam locomotives on the main south line, on the original line from Picton to Midigon via Thirlmere, Buxton, Couridjah, Buxton and Hilltop, and then there to Midigon. So here we are, adjacent Lake Couridjah, and this is the pump house for the supply for water for Couridjah Railway Station, and it would have provided the water necessary for steam locomotive traction on the main south in the days when the line was in use. Particularly when it was particularly needed when it was the main line, but it was subsequently kept right through the 60s for a service for the people who lived on the line there. So here you have fine Hawkesbury River sandstone, and you can see the footings for the winding engine in there. Precious little else, and maybe a pipe to transmit the water. Well, here we are again at Lake Couridjah. Just down, you can just probably see the roof from the Couridjah pump house there. Now, we couldn't see the main pipe which would have serviced that in its day, but here we have the remains of it. In fact, I actually find there's two. So this is the original pipe network which would have provided the water. We can follow it along here a little bit. So continuing along the line of this pipe, we've got this elbow as it were here, and it continues a little further. We've got a junction piece here, and that's heading down there to where it's like the original remnants of some wooden structure, maybe a quasi wharf or something of that nature. This is where this entered the, I don't know why they're so high, but at any rate, that would have gone down, and this is where the water was taken for the steam engines up there. So it would have been sucked up by the steam engine sucking it, a pump system. Steam engine driving a pump system, and force pump is pulling the water up from the lake. Well, here we are a little bit north of where that main, where the main set of pipes were coming out. It's down there, probably about 10 metres. And here's another set of pipes. They look pretty old, but not too large in size, but obviously going to a structure out there. So maybe this was a subsequent operation when they needed less water, not quite the same diameter as the other one before. But at any rate, so obviously going out to where that little wooden frame is or structure out there, and taking the water out from the point beneath the surface. Here there'd be nice oozy mud. This is the remnant of Couridjah Railway Station. Classic New South Wales timber structure. Of note, it actually had this, which is a nice feature that they would have added in the days when this was the main line. Here's the waiting room, complete. Yeah, it's pretty much original condition with the original seat there. The seat from Picton Station's been added. What's it got there? Picton Lakes. That would have been the original name of it. Can you see on the right hand side, Picton Lakes? That might have been the original name for Couridjah. This line features a lot of metal sleepers. There you see them. Here's the station name board. Here's the station name board, Couridjah. So from Lake Couridjah where we were, this is where the water was pumped to, and being a station, particularly for trains going up the gradient, there's 1 in 30 in some parts, quite steep. This was the original main line from Picton to Midigan, Mittagong. Those two structures up there are water columns, and there was arranged so the freight train could stop here, and there were two so that steam engines of the day could have one engine with its tender getting filled. They were double-headed because of the loads, so the rear engine and the front engine could load water simultaneously. If we swing around to here, in what's known as the up direction going to Sydney, the need was far less, and there's just one water column. So that's what that was for. So going back to Sydney, pretty much one water column, but going up the other way too. So that was where the water was heading, and that's what it would have been used for steam locomotives to refill their tenders. Right, so here we are at the water columns, the two water columns for down trains, slightly south, a higher elevation from Couridjah Station. This is what the water supply was all about. This is a standard New South Wales water column which can pump quite a lot of water, quite thick as you see. This is the jib. The control is that arm at the top, so the jib normally has a rope and also a long flexible piece of material which they pull the thing over the steam engine and then put the flexible piece into the water tender and turn it on. They can turn it on and turn it off from that control rod. So one engine would have had its tender there. The locomotive would have been, say, here. Actually, that's fairly close. Would have had one there, engine there, tender there, engine here. They could do two engines at once, particularly the smaller engines. It's a little bit close there. So this is the second jib, and both jibs. There's a pit here, sort of a partially reduced pit. The water would drop down into that when they've turned it off. So, and from the ground, this here can wind the jib around. You can turn it. Actually, sorry, you can actually control turn it on and off from there. Sorry, that turns it on and off. So the control for the water is that little set of gears, and you can control it either from the tender or you can actually control it from the ground by spinning this.
Thank you.